Australia, a land of extremes. Home to natural-born killers found nowhere else on Earth. Where prehistoric predators dominate floodplains. While scorched desert sands play host to an evolutionary arms race. And where devils haunt the night. Australia truly is a realm of monsters. Australia's tropical top end is torn between two distinct seasons of drought and deluge. Shaped by the extremes of opposing natural forces, wildlife here has evolved to weather the storm. And at the end of a long and deadly dry season, unseen terrors lie in wait. A 5-meter-long saltwater crocodile lurks in a muddy creek bed, all but entombed in the cool, concealing sludge. Most salties from this stricken region departed months ago, bound for the open ocean and its rich bounty of seafood. But this huge beast is a stayer. He's decided to tough it out. To hold his ground until the summer rains fall. A croc of this size, cleverly conserving his energy, can survive on limited food for some time. But not indefinitely. With his life hanging in the balance, it will take more than a light shower to free this monster from his muddy crypt. It will take a monsoonal deluge. The saltwater crocodile stirs. And he's hungry. Saltwater crocodiles are notoriously dangerous. One of only a few predators in the world to actively stalk humans as prey. Growing up to 6 meters in length and weighing up to a ton, they are the world's largest living reptiles. This monster is one of the biggest on the floodplain. But that doesn't appear to deter competition. A drifting male has returned from the open sea, and he's encroaching on Miss Salty's turf. The larger Salty will not tolerate such an intrusion on his territory, and aggressively defends his domain. The dispute is over swiftly. Clearly outmatched in size and strength, the intruder continues his journey downstream. In these croc-infested waters, challenges are frequent and victory is never guaranteed. To maintain his dominant position on the floodplain, this boss croc must build his strength. After months of wallowing idly in the mud, it's clearly time to refuel. And for this hyper-carnivorous apex predator, anything big and fleshy will do. The reinvigorated wetlands attract an abundance of life. Leading the way, migrating birds arrive en masse. They appear to be oblivious to the danger that lurks beneath. Covered by protective translucent membranes, his uniquely adapted eyes are able to scan the horizon, while his head remains motionless. Affording him a competitive edge. An unwary egret makes for the easiest of appetizers, leaving room for an entree or two. Existing here for nearly 100 million years, saltwater crocodiles are the largest riparian predators on the planet. He's more than capable of taking down a water buffalo the size of a 1-ton truck. But on land, his lumbering frame is easily spotted. Once in the water, however, this monster has well and truly mastered the art of stealth. His essential senses, his eyes, nostrils, and ears are all situated on the top of his head, allowing the bulk of his body to remain hidden as he's actively seeking out prey. Other animals have no way of knowing the true size of the beast beneath. Even if they are alert to his presence, he appears to be small and relatively harmless. This wallaroo has no idea of the fate he's tempting as he wanders in to quench his thirst. The water's edge is the crocodile's preferred kill zone. His approach is so quiet, even the most vigilant or skittish creatures are taken completely by surprise. Using his powerful tail to propel himself up through the water, the crocodile's explosive attack is fast and furious. With the strongest bite force of any living animal on Earth today, the saltwater croc dispatches this hapless roo with terrifying efficiency. His long, lethal teeth are designed to bite but not chew. So the crocodile uses his aggressive power to tear flesh into chunks that can be swallowed whole. A staggering display of this prehistoric monster's capacity for mayhem. A meal of this size will likely keep the croc's appetite in check for several weeks, which is good news for other wallaroos in the area. Life here is perilous. To survive in these croc-infested waters, it pays to be well armed. Falling between December and March, Northern Australia's annual wet season creates an opportunity for marine monsters to transcend the barriers of their realm. Exploiting flooded estuaries, the stonefish is an unlikely predator. An awkward swimmer, he's simply not built for the chase. Just getting from point A to point B is an arduous task, so actively chasing down prey is not a viable option. This monster's approach is more passive-aggressive, Camouflage is his strong suit. Once he finds the right spot, he'll remain sedentary for some time. He'll even tolerate algae growing on his rough skin as it enhances concealment. In his element, it's obvious why the stonefish is so named. He is virtually indistinguishable from his surroundings, and all he has to do is wait. He's an ambush predator, and patience is the name of his game. In these brackish waters rich in prey, he doesn't have to wait long for a potential meal to drift into his kill zone. Despite those big bulbous eyes, his presence goes unnoticed. Timing, when the element of surprise is your key weapon, is everything. If he strikes too soon, the fish are alerted to his presence. But wait too long, and they fin out of range. But once the fish strays within optimum striking distance, he launches an accurate and lightning-fast assault. The unwary fish never saw it coming. While the stonefish's attack is most impressive, it's not his only standout feature. He is notoriously the world's most venomous fish, which is a prestigious title indeed, when considering that there are more venomous fish species on the planet than venomous snakes. Concealed within a thick coat of skin on his dorsal fin, 13 needle-like spines are underpinned by highly developed venom glands. Rather than weapons of attack, they form a formidable defensive array, a deadly deterrent to would-be predators. A powerful predator in its own right, this saltwater croc is wise to avoid the toxic marine invader. Potentially lethal to humans, thankfully the development of antivenom has significantly reduced modern-day fatalities. Stone-cold killers. Stonefish are not the most venomous creatures in these waters, nor are they the most prolific. The northern Australian coastline is under siege. Between the months of November and April, blooms of jellyfish inundate the continent's tropical waterways. While some are harmless, others are exceptionally lethal. With a bell-shaped body no larger than a fingernail, there is more to the tiny irukandji jellyfish than meets the eye. Incredibly, irukandji venom is 100 times more potent than a cobra's, and 1,000 times more deadly than that of a tarantula, making this tiny marine stinger one of the most venomous creatures known to man. Moving stealthily through these warm tropical waters, the irukandji is a cold-blooded killer. But remarkably, they are not considered to be the most dangerous marine stingers present here. Deceptively innocuous in appearance, the lethal box jellyfish is known to have claimed more than 70 human lives. and they are here in force. Preferring calmer waters during the wet season, adult box jellyfish gravitate to river mouths and estuaries to spawn. And while here, they must feed. While most jellyfish opportunistically snare prey as their tentacles trail through the murky water, box jellyfish are active hunters. They are capable of propelling themselves at speeds of up to 4 knots as they pursue small fish and shrimp. Chemical sensors, rather than touch receptors, in their 3-meter-long tentacles detect prey. And once they've located their mark, it's game over. Each thin strand contains several thousand stinging cells, microscopic harpoon-shaped mechanisms that inject complex venom into a victim. Much faster acting than irukandji venom, and catastrophic to human biology, box jellyfish envenomation can lead to cardiovascular collapse and death in as little as a few minutes. The use of such overwhelmingly lethal force protects the marine stinger's delicate tentacles from being damaged by prey trying to escape. The potency of its venom just as effective in defense. And it will likely come as no great surprise. The box jellyfish has few natural predators. It's an Aussie killer in a league of its own. While some hidden terrors lurk unseen along the northern Australian coastline, there are other marine monsters present here that clearly advertise their deadly nature. Lurking beneath the surface of northern Australia's deadly tropical waters, this pint-sized predator packs a powerful punch. Not much bigger than a baseball, the blue-ringed octopus has a lethal bite. Its venom is 10,000 times more toxic than cyanide, capable of killing 26 people in less than 90 minutes. Clearly punching above its weight, the blue-ringed octopus is one of the most venomous creatures on the planet. Methodical and slow-moving, this male blue-ringed octopus is by no means an endurance hunter. He clambers across the floor of the intertidal zone, seeking small crustaceans to devour. His mantle pumps water through a siphon to flush away silt that may be concealing prey. Armored and well-armed, this crab is not entirely defenseless. To avoid injury, the blue-ringed octopus must take it by surprise. Approaching with stealth, his nimble tentacles reach out to restrain the crab's menacing claws. Easily penetrating the crab's exoskeleton, the octopus's sharp, horny beak delivers a single venomous bite. A cocktail of deadly toxins rapidly overwhelms his prey. His strong limbs make short work of the crab's tough exterior, allowing him to quickly access the fleshy meat within. To resist the outgoing tide, he keeps a single tentacle tethered. But the current is not the only force threatening to claim his unfinished meal. Always on the lookout for easy pickings, nearby fish hungrily eye his prize. But the octopus is not so easily intimidated. He sends a vivid warning to potential foes. Flashing iridescent blue rings pulse across his body. If the threat persists, the octopus will excrete a different but equally lethal defensive venom into the surrounding water. In the animal kingdom, such vivid displays are rarely misunderstood. The signal is heeded, and the octopus is left to finish his meal in peace. Although removed from the perils of these toxic terrors, life above the waterline is no safer. In this part of the world, you don't have to be big to be deadly. You just have to be well armed to kill or avoid being killed. This inconspicuous herbivore is a female peppermint stick insect. While it peacefully feeds on the leaves of the pandanus plant, this stealthy stick uses the plant's sharp spines as protection from potential predators. But not all predators are so easily deterred. With a leg span of up to 13 centimeters, huntsman spiders are large, active hunters. And a living nightmare for local invertebrates. Sensing the approaching threat, the stick insect attempts to conceal herself within the fold of a leaf. But when her cover is blown and all appears lost, this seemingly benign insect reveals an unexpected secret weapon. Located behind her head, specialized glands produce a toxic deterrent. She's able to fire a stream of viscous liquid up to 60 centimeters in any direction. Smelling strongly of peppermint, the chemical is an irritant, a form of insect tear gas. And more often than not, it has the desired effect. While this evolutionary defense strategy is quite remarkable, there is another Australian freak of nature that wields a secret weapon that is perhaps even more intriguing. While Australia is inhabited by a host of dangerous creatures, few are as freakish as this one. The duck-billed platypus is one of nature's more unusual creatures. It has the paddle-shaped tail of a beaver, the sleek body of an otter, and a flat bill and webbed feet like a duck. And hidden amongst this seemingly random assemblage of oddities, this unique monotreme conceals a remarkable secret weapon. Located on the inner hind leg, the males of the species are armed with a highly venomous spur. An exceptionally rare trait amongst modern mammals. The possession of venom speaks to the platypus's prehistoric past and distant evolutionary connection to reptilian ancestors. Strong enough to kill a small mammal, platypus venom is not used to subdue prey, but rather for defense. Although it's non-lethal to humans, platypus venom can cause excruciating and long-lasting pain, impairing a victim for several months. While it is used as an effective deterrent against predation, the primary function of the platypus's venom spur is to assert dominance over competing males during breeding season. And it appears that this female has attracted more than one suitor. Indifferent to their romantic intentions, she dives below the water's surface in search of food. While foraging underwater, her eyes and ears remain closed. She navigates her way around the debris-littered riverbed using pressure sensors and thousands of tiny electroreceptors housed in her duck-like bill. It's an effective sixth sense that allows her to detect the minute electromagnetic signals emitted by crustaceans and other prey species. Once snared, she returns to the surface to grind up her quarry between calcified plates in her toothless bill. Seizing the opportunity, the two competing males vie for her attention. A volatile situation that soon escalates into combat. Suffering painful envenomation, the loser yields to the stronger male. Allowing the victor to begin his courtship of the female. If successful, it's an act that will result in yet another bizarre natural phenomenon. Although she lacks a venom spur, she has her own unique link to a prehistoric past. Along with her close relative, the echidna, she is one of the few mammals to lay eggs. Uniquely Australian, the platypus truly is a genetic oddity. Bizarre, grotesque, brutal. The killers of Northern Australia's tropics take on many forms. But there is one that looms larger than most. Between the months of November and April, Northern Australia endures its annual cyclone season. Deriving immense energy from the warm tropical ocean, these wild storms unleash nature's unbridled fury. The skies appear to bubble and boil as gale-force winds drive stinging rain. and surging storm waves batter the coastline. It's an almighty display of natural force that leaves devastation in its wake. Amidst the aftermath, fallen casualties litter the beach. While the deadly cyclone has spelt misfortune for some, for others, the parting storm clouds possess a silver lining. Emerging from impromptu shelters, sand goannas forage amongst the debris. And after several days without food, they are hungry. But they are not left wanting. The cyclone has gifted them with a glut of fresh seafood. Despite the abundance of easy pickings, sand goannas display a strong natural tendency for competition. This large male sees off a lesser rival. But in the cyclone's dramatic aftermath, these goannas are not the only predators to emerge hungry. A pair of young dingoes is on the prowl. Ignoring the dead fish, they hone in on a potentially more substantial meal. The dominant goanna is now on the defensive. Inexperienced in the art of the hunt, the juvenile dingoes are not entirely sure of how to attack the situation. And this 1.5 meter long goanna is not entirely defenseless. A bite from his powerful jaws could prove nasty. Recent studies have discovered that Australian monitor lizards are armed with venom, similar to that of snakes. But working in tandem, the dingoes maintain a strategic advantage. An adept swimmer, the lizard's best chance of survival is to make it to deeper water. But the attack of these dogged wolf-like predators is relentless. Ultimately, the young dingo's inexperience proves a saving grace for the lizard. A lucky escape. While the sand goanna will live to fight another day, the dingo pups won't go hungry. When times demand, dingoes will resort to scavenging. And there are no shortage of easy pickings here. While tropical cyclones can wreak death and destruction, they are not the only killers in these parts carried on the wind. Rich in fruiting tree species, Australia's tropical top end attracts a menagerie of seasonal visitors. Some deadlier than others. Sinister in appearance, flying foxes are the world's largest megabats. With a wingspan of 1 meter, little red flying foxes are by no means the largest species. But they are certainly one of the most prolific. Nomadic in nature, they congregate in camps of up to 1 million individuals. Unlike their smaller, bloodthirsty relatives, flying foxes, or fruit bats as they are commonly known, are vegetarians. But they are by no means harmless. These bats are potential killers. By day, they rest in treetops. But at the setting of the sun, this army of darkness takes flight, obscuring much of the twilight with their eerie silhouettes. When flying foxes are around, night appears to fall early. The only mammals to have evolved true flight. Bats stay airborne on wings made from strong, elastic skin that stretches between their elongated finger bones. While their carnivorous cousins use echolocation to navigate and hunt, flying foxes use their keen vision and strong sense of smell to locate food. They favor the nectar of flowering plants and are instrumental in the dispersal of native plant species. Pollen, carried on the bat's fur, pollinates neighboring trees. As they travel throughout the forest, they bring with them the promise of new life. Unfortunately, they also host more insidious passengers. Bats are notorious for spreading disease. They carry a number of deadly pathogens, including the Australian bat lysovirus, which is particularly harmful to humans. The virus is transmitted through the bite of an infected bat. The symptoms are not unlike those associated with rabies and are invariably just as fatal. Curiously, the virus has little effect on the bats themselves. As natural hosts, flying foxes may be impervious to the microscopic pathogens they carry. But there are other unseen killers present here. Before returning to their roosts, these bats make a fleeting pit stop. Drinking mid-flight is an efficient way to quench their thirst. Although occasionally, it's risky business. Hidden below the water's surface, freshwater crocodiles are keeping a watchful eye. Smaller than their saltwater relatives, freshies are abundant in the rivers and wetlands of northern Australia. Growing to a modest 3 meters in length, their diet is usually restricted to smaller prey, fish, amphibians, water birds, and when the opportunity strikes, bats. Patiently, purposefully, This female tracks the bats in flight. Her eyes, ears, and nostrils are strategically positioned on the top of her head, a physiology she shares with her saltwater cousins. A perfect adaptation for an ambush predator. Floating motionless, she must time her attack perfectly. Whipping into action, her powerful tail and webbed hind feet aid her launch from the water. Lined with sharp teeth, her snapping jaws probe the air for flesh. It's not an exact science. But patience is a virtue. There is no need to dismember this morsel. It is easily swallowed whole. The monsoon provides an abundance of food and ideal conditions for raising young. Calling to their mother from within eggs laid during the dry season, hatchlings signal that they are ready to emerge. Driven by motherly instincts, she surfaces, ready to assist her brood's safe passage to water. She knows only too well that her young are vulnerable at this tender age to predators like pythons and goannas. Suddenly, she's faced with a more immediate threat. She's crossed paths with a larger and fiercer predator. Almost double her size, a male saltwater crocodile stands between her and her nest. It's a perilous situation. Saltwater crocodiles are fond of the flesh of their lesser cousins, even one of this mother's size. She can put up a fight, but it's one she cannot hope to win. She's outmatched in almost every respect, bar one. Capable of surprising bursts of speed, she takes flight, galloping towards safety. Leaving nothing for the salty to eat but her dust. Her young have no choice now but to fend for themselves. Life here is fraught with danger, and it pays to keep a watchful eye. Because in these parts, predators can appear out of thin air. As Northern Australia's wet season draws to an end, migratory species begin to take flight for greener pastures. As a parting gesture, a mated pair of white-bellied sea eagles invites this colony of flying foxes to an impromptu farewell feast. Unfortunately for the bats, however, it appears that they are at the top of the menu. With a wingspan of more than 2 meters, white-bellied sea eagles are Australia's second largest birds of prey. Hunting in tandem, the mated pair hone in on separate targets. Fast and agile, the female uses her deadly talons to nab prey at high speed, while the male turns his attention to those closer to Earth. It appears the bats are no safer in the canopy than they are in flight. Happy to leave this nightmarish scenario behind, the flying fox colony sets off on their long migratory journey. Despite the mass exodus of prey species, these white-bellied sea eagles won't go hungry. They are equally at home scavenging amongst the retreating floodwaters. For now, that's enough to provide sustenance for the pair's young family. At this age, these two young chicks are totally dependent on their parents. And with the dry season now in full swing, the adult pair must begin to look for food further afield. Abundant in prey year-round, the nearby sea pays little heed to the whims of the seasons. It is easy to see why white-bellied sea eagles are so named. They are indeed impressive marine predators. From high above, their exceptionally keen eyesight allows them to spot prey from up to 3 kilometers away. Movement on the water's surface has caught their eye. Driven upwards by large predators below, a shoal of fish forms a defensive bait ball near the surface. As white-tipped reef sharks ruthlessly attack the shoal from beneath, capitalizing on the chaos, highly venomous sea snakes lie in wait near the water's surface. Amidst the frenzy, the fish have little notion of impending death from above. Seizing this moment, the male sea eagle swoops and steadfastly snatches an unwary fish from the water's surface. Not to be outdone, the female moves in. Her sights lock on a more formidable target. In the midst of its own hunt, a deadly sea snake is brutally plucked from its aquatic realm. Her razor-sharp talons quickly neutralize the threat posed by its lethal fangs. A killer in its own right, this recently deceased sea monster provides a substantial meal for the kids. Helping the next generation of white-bellied sea eagles to continue their long-standing tradition of raining death from above. To survive and thrive in a tropical region dominated by the ebbs and flows of life-giving water, some species of northern Australia's unique wildlife have developed a veritable arsenal of specialized weaponry. To hunt, maim, and kill. Because up here, no matter how formidable the predator, there is always a more ruthless killer waiting for its moment to strike.